Hey guys, Todd James here. I've put out a couple of videos in the last week or 10 days that seem to have just gotten under people's skin. I've gotten a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and the gist of it is that people don't really quite understand what I'm talking about, and I think I've been pretty clear, but I'm going to try it one more time and say this in a way and maybe illustrate what I'm talking about in such a way that it will become crystal clear and you'll be able to kind of wrap your head around it. What I'm talking about here is my use of a phrase where I talk about clustering products or clustering items in a store, specifically a Shopify store. Or you can also kind of do the same thing with Amazon. Certainly in terms of your product selection, I think it's a viable way of choosing products on Amazon to have clusters of products. And by cluster, I am talking about products that would appeal to the same buyer, products that are associated with maybe one central product or two central products. So I'm going to keep this video really short and give you a very direct example and then let you think of other types of clusters. This would be a great time once you watch this to maybe give some examples of your own in the comments section down below. But let's talk about weightlifting equipment. Someone that buys a basic weightlifting set, say it includes 1,000 pounds of weights and a bar. That same person may very well be a candidate for a power rack or a guillotine rack. That person is probably also going to be a candidate for a bench press rack. How about some rubber matting for the floor? How about a pull-up bar? How about some battle ropes, weightlifting gloves, possibly weightlifting shoes, weightlifting belts? So out of that list, and that is not anywhere close to being an exhaustive list, I see two main items there. The main item being a power rack or a squat rack if you prefer, and the initial weight set. So what you would do is you would set this up. You might market the power rack, you might market the weight set, or you might choose to market both of them, run ads for both products. But when somebody comes to your store and they buy the weight set, a suggested item would be, hey, we've noticed that people who have bought this weight set have also been interested in buying a power rack. Here is a power rack for you to look at. Or here are a couple of power racks for you to look at. Oh, and by the way, people that have bought this power rack have also bought this rubber floor matting that's designed for gyms. It deadens the sound, it makes your workouts more pleasurable, more enjoyable, and safer. This is how you cluster products. You pick products that again appeal to the same buyer and that are kind of a logical progression from one product to the next. You're trying to lead them down a path that will allow them and encourage them to buy additional products from you. You got them to your store, through your ad spend. You might as well make the most of it while they're there. Upsell, side sell, downsell, sell them anything you can until they run screaming from your store. The weight belts, the weightlifting shoes. If your fitness store gravitates towards competitive weightlifters, hey, you've got knee wraps, elbow wraps, you've got powerlifting suits you can sell. It's an exhaustive kind of exploitation of this particular interest that this person might have. In one of my earlier videos, I talked about selling things that are related to horses and horseback riding. That's a subject I know nothing about. I picked that just spontaneously in the course of making the video. But if you're into horseback riding, you can make an exhaustive list yourself of all the things that the rider might very well need. And it depends on what type of riding that they're doing. Are they trail riding? Are they doing dressage, I think it's called? Are they doing barrel racing? Or jumping? You name it. There's different types of equipment involved. There's different types of clothing involved. There's just, for someone who's an expert or has knowledge in that field, the list is pretty long of associated products you can sell all kind of wrapped around this one or two core products. The neat thing about, going back to my fitness example though, you can set up a Shopify store selling fitness equipment where everything in the store is drop shipped. Most people do Shopify via drop shipping as opposed to self-fulfillment, and you can set it up to do drop shipping. There are American importers. There's still a few American producers of weightlifting equipment, in particular certain types of weightlifting equipment, really nice custom bars or high-end professional bars, if you will, are still made in the U.S. Most of the manufacturers will drop ship. Not really suggesting that all of you rush out and open up fitness Shopify stores, but I'm just saying, you know, if you look around for almost any interest, you can find companies, manufacturers that will drop ship. And as you know, I frequently advocate for drop shipping from U.S. manufacturers or U.S. based importers as opposed to going to all the way to China directly. I think you'll be surprised at how cost efficient it is to deal with an importer here in the U.S. who is buying things in container loads or sometimes multiple container loads and bringing them to a U.S. port versus you trying to drop ship directly from China into either an Amazon warehouse or just drop ship straight to the end user. I think you'd be surprised that you can usually get about the same price and sometimes even a better price from an importer, and then you're dealing with somebody who is in the U.S. You have a shorter supply chain. You have much easier time with your communications typically. There are a lot of advantages to doing that if you can. But in any case, I'm going to cut the video off right there. I think I've talked to you enough. You should be able to wrap your head around what I'm talking about now. Just one last thing, talking about this cluster where we had, a power rack or a squat rack and also a weight set, and then these other associated things that you try to sell them alongside their initial purchase, or you try to do sell them after the sale, a down sell for weightlifting gloves or a weight belt. In that same store, you may have a different department that sells other types of fitness equipment. Everything that we just talked about here was one cluster around weightlifting, but over here you can do a cluster around supplements. Over here you can do a cluster around therapeutic type things, heating pads, massage chairs, hot tubs. And any of these clusters lend themselves to doing package deals. In terms of the weightlifting thing, we can take a look at it and say, okay, here's a package for $1,000. It's a starter package for a home gym. Here's another package for $1,500 or $1,900 that is a step up from the first package. And here's another package for a deluxe home gym that's $2,500 or $2,900 that includes these different pieces of equipment. It makes buying more of a spontaneous kind of decision. It makes buying much easier. And the people that won't have a home gym don't think twice about dropping $2,000 or $3,000 to buy one. If you haven't done so already, please hit like and subscribe. I talked as fast as I could to make this video short. Still got you for about 10 minutes, but we'll see you in the next video. Hope you find this helpful.